Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. So, just before we get started, any likes and subscribes, support is greatly appreciated. And let's get into it. So, what we're going to do today is we're just going to have a bit of a wildcard video for Game Week 5. Now, first and foremost, it's really important that everyone remembers that it's a Tuesday deadline. There's midweek fixtures coming up this week, so please sort your teams out before then. Don't get caught out, especially so early on into the season. That'd be really disappointing. So we've just got some teams to target here. I'm going to start off with Chelsea. Now I know the form isn't great, but the fixtures are great when you look at those. And I think the players you want to target are players like Reece James and possibly someone like Fafana. He's pretty much nailed to make the move to Chelsea, and he's only 4.4 million at the moment. And I think if he does make that move, his price will definitely go up and he will be a really good value player to have. You also look at someone like Sterling, but then again, who are you going to take out in order to fit Sterling in your team at that price? Next up, we've got Brentford. Featured them also last week. Fixtures still look amazing, and I would say from a defensive point of view and an attacking point of view, they're good fixtures. The teams that they're playing aren't really scoring too many, apart from possibly Arsenal, and a lot of them are conceding as well. So players like Tony or Henry at the back, or even Raya in goal, good options for me. Next up, we've got Leeds. Playing okay, also got good fixtures. I would question whether you bring in Leeds defence. I think they could concede against most of those teams. But somebody like Rodrigo or Jack Harrison, I think are really good options from an attacking point of view. You could also maybe look at Aronson as well. Next up, Liverpool speaks for itself after a great game against Bournemouth. I think people were too quick to get off Liverpool players, and I think it's going to go too far the other way, and everyone's going to start jumping on them again. Um, I think you've just got to take it as they're a good team that are going to get good results. But it's so early on in the season, people really expect instant rewards for transfers. Oh, this player's got a goal from defence or an assist from defence, or they scored a couple of goals. They're going to do that every week. They're not. Liverpool's fixtures are all right, but you've got to think this is a team that has consistently finished in the top two in the Premier League. If you go for some of those big hitters like Trent and Salah, Diaz, they're going to be doing really well as well. Final team to target is Man City. I would question, there's real sort of up in the air about Haaland and rotation at the moment, and the proof will only be when he plays or doesn't play. I think it depends on how you want to risk it. If you have faith that he's going to start and get good minutes, continue his form, it's obvious that when he plays, he's going to score. It's just that old Man City problem of rotations. In terms of defence, they're not really getting forward, making those attacking contributions as you'd like. So maybe if you're going to get a defender, maybe opt for a cheaper defender, your Kyle Walker rather than your Cancelo. If neither of them are getting attacking returns, you might just want a defender that's going to keep a clean sheet occasionally. Teams to avoid, start off with Bournemouth. Now those fixtures look great, and the thing is with Bournemouth is they're clearly setting up to try and get points against specific teams around them. I mean, against the bigger teams, they're clearly just not really that bothered. But they're not even trying to keep it tight at the back, you would say, especially in the most recent game against Liverpool. So I don't really know. Those teams like Wolves and Nottingham Forest are the teams that Bournemouth are going to target. But also, if you were to bring in a Bournemouth defender, even for those fixtures, I wouldn't even know who to get in. Out of the entire squad. So I would suggest staying away from Bournemouth even with the fixtures. Next up, we've got Everton. Um, Not great fixtures, not great form, speaks for itself. Not scoring many goals. I think if you were, you could maybe go for Damari Gray or Gordon, but I wouldn't really, maybe as a filler somewhere as a bit of a differential if you think the form's going to improve. But I would really not look at their defence either. Moving on to Man United now, it's just consistency really. I think it's too early to tell. I wouldn't be sort of swayed by two wins recently. There's still this question of rotation, who's going to play where, especially maybe at centre back and up front. I think that's questionable, and the teams they're playing are not that easy. Even like your Palace and your Newcastle, they're good teams, and they're not just going to roll over and let Man United win. Fourth team, we've got West Ham. No wins so far. I don't think they've got any points so far. and the next three games are not looking good as well. This video is going out before Sunday's game, so they might have got something today. But really, what you're looking at after that is not good. If they can pick up some form after those three games, the remaining games look pretty good for West Ham in that fixture run. So maybe in a few weeks, if they turn things around, you might want to consider them. Moving on to Wolves. Now, they're another team, just like West Ham, that aren't really doing anything at the moment. They're not really contributing to many attacking returns, and they're struggling to keep teams out as well. They've also got that Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea trio in the middle of there as well. So they're just fixtures I would avoid. So the wildcard team, if you were wildcarding this week, I would start with Raya in goal from Brentford. I think Brentford defensively are looking okay. I think the fixtures are looking good as well, so I don't see why you wouldn't start Raya. In defence, we're going with Trent. A lot of people took him out. A lot of people be getting him in, just wasting transfers through panic. I would just, stay calm and collected and just, make sensible decisions. Going with Reece James, I think Chelsea's fixtures really turn around. I think if they get Fofana in as well, that defence is going to look a lot more solid and will mean he will move back to right wing back. If he does that, then he's going to get so many more attacking returns as well. Uh, Going with Kyle Walker, I think if you want a way into Man City's defence, I would maybe consider getting Walker instead of Cancelo, just because he's 2 million cheaper, and Cancelo's not looking like he's going to get those attacking returns that he did last season. So if they're nullified, you're kind of paying 2 million more for the same returns, and so the money you save on getting Walker in could be reinvested elsewhere. Rico Henry rounding out the defence. Whether you start him or not is up to you, but I think having Brentford players in at the moment is a must. I think they're looking really confident across the pitch, and he's an attacking fullback as well that has an assist or two in him across a few games. Moving into midfield, we're going to start with Harrison in from Leeds. Leeds are going to be a bit of a mid-table team, but Harrison's the one that's contributing and making him tick. So if Leeds do well, because Harrison is probably doing well as well, and I think he's already got the same amount of assists as he did last season, or even more assists than he did in the whole of last season. So he's clearly having a bit of a transformed role, and Leeds fixtures look okay moving forward. Salah in the middle as well. What a ridiculous game for Liverpool. And I know people have probably said it already, but for Liverpool to score 9 goals and Salah um, not to get a goal or an assist, it's kind of like an inside joke, you think, from Liverpool to, frustrate fantasy league managers because it's just so ridiculous. You just would never expect it. You need to still have him in. I mean, don't transfer him out based on that. You see, it gets quite frustrating seeing people, making reaction decisions, based on one game. Your team aren't going to score points every game week. Each player, they're not going to score points. And I think if you go around chasing the points from games that have already happened, those points have gone. We've said it in previous videos, those points aren't there anymore. You've got to look forward and say, well, Liverpool are clearly, attacking very well. Salah's going to be a part of that. It's only a matter of time before he gets the goals, and the fixtures are looking good as well. Rounding out the midfield, we've gone with De Bruyne. Now, Man City rotation risks are always going to be there. I think De Bruyne, in an attacking sense, is the most fixture-proof player in Man City. That's why we've gone for him instead of Haaland in this team. Just because, usually if Haaland scores or Man City score, De Bruyne is at the heart of it all. And I think he's just looked a lot more attacking this season as well. So up front, we've got a good trio here of mid-price players. Jesus, obviously. Arsenal's fixtures continue to look good. Arsenal continue to look good. Good fight back win against Fulham yesterday. And I think Jesus, he's playing very well, even though he didn't get any returns this year. It's also the fact that if you haven't got him in, everyone else has got him in, so you're running the risk of getting further behind as soon as he does something. Speaking of fixture proof as well, I think Mitrovic is getting there. Last video, I wasn't too sure on him because, he had some tough games coming up. He still has those tough games, but I think if he's scoring against the likes of Arsenal, I think he's probably scoring against anyone. He's already scored against Liverpool. It's getting to the point where you think you kind of need to have him regardless of who they're playing because he's clearly, always good for a goal. And rounding it out, we've got Ivan Toney there. I think Ivan Toney is just showing a great attitude at the moment. Didn't contribute again this weekend, but Brentford's fixtures look great. On the bench, we've got Fofana. This is based on his move to Chelsea. I think if he moves to Chelsea's 4.4 million, you need to get him in pretty quick. He will represent tremendous value. Andreas, again, an attacking player for Fulham, has contributed assists already this season and 4.5 million, great value. And Eberechi Eze rounding off the bench. Whether you want to start some of these players or and bench others is up to you. You might think of swapping someone in for Henry, depending on fixtures and who they're playing. But I think Eze is looking good, good attacking threat. I think he has the highest dribble, one of the highest dribble percentages completed in the Premier League, and I think if Zaha's there as well, they just take pressure off each other, and I think it's fantastic sort of combination there, and a good way of getting into a reasonable Crystal Palace team with good fixtures coming forward. So, wildcard tips as well. Form proof. This is what you want to look for. Fixture proof and rotation proof. So, form proof are these teams like Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea. They're going to be top four, top five at the end of the season. It's early in the season. So, you think, oh, this team's having poor form or this team's having really good form. Teams like maybe Leeds, Brighton, Fulham, Brentford, they're probably not going to be able to keep that form up for a full season. Whereas Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea players, Arsenal even, they are going to be able to keep it going for a full season. That's what I mean when I say form proof. These teams that are always going to be good eventually. You want to look at targeting their players just for consistency reasons. Fixture proof, so players like we've said, like Mitrovic, Jesus, Salah, De Bruyne, players that are doesn't really matter who they're playing. You'd fancy them to score points. Players like Trent as well. And finally, rotation proof. So when we say rotation proof, they're going to play in a team no matter what. You've got that in Jesus, Mitrovic, Tony, Salah, Trent, Reece James. You could say hopefully Kyle Walker and De Bruyne as well. Those players are all rotation proof. They're going to be playing in the teams no matter what, even if there's a bit of congested fixture schedule as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about the team. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.